I stared at my mother across her pristine granite kitchen counter, my hands gripping my coffee mug so tightly my knuckles had turned white. "What do you mean you used my wedding fund for Sarah's house down payment?" My voice came out barely above a whisper. Mom continued arranging cookies on a plate like she hadn't just dropped a bomb that destroyed my entire future. "Well, sweetheart, your sister needed it more. You know how hard it's been for her and Jason to save up for a house with 3 kids. I was 32, a successful corporate attorney, and yet somehow, in this moment, I felt like a powerless child again. The $100,000 I'd saved over the past 5 years, money I'd trusted my parents to keep safe in their account because family takes care of family, was gone. Just like that. "But my wedding is in 2 months," I said, still struggling to process what I was hearing. "Everything is booked. The venue, the caterers, the flowers. Deposits have been paid." Dad walked in then, his golf clothes immaculate as always. "Amy, don't be dramatic. Daniel's family has money. His father owns half of Boston's real estate. They can cover the wedding costs." The casual way he dismissed my feelings made something snap inside me. "That's not the point. It was my money. Money I earned and saved." "Lower your voice, young lady," Mom said sharply. "We raised you better than this. Sarah needs a stable home for her children, your nephews and niece. Surely you can understand that." I looked between them, these people who'd raised me, who taught me about right and wrong, who were now acting like what they'd done was perfectly reasonable. A horrible thought struck me. Does Daniel know about this? The slight flicker in Mom's eyes told me everything. "We thought it would be better coming from you." Of course they did. They'd spent my money without my knowledge or permission, and now they expected me to explain to my fiancé why our wedding plans were in jeopardy. Classic. "Where's Sarah now?" I asked, my voice eerily calm. "She and Jason are at their new house," Dad said proudly, signing the final paperwork. "They're so excited, Amy. You should see the kids running around in the backyard. It's exactly what they needed." I pulled out my phone and texted my sister, "We need to talk. Now, meet me at Riverside Coffee in 30 minutes. "I have to go," I said, standing up. "But this isn't over." "Amy, please." Mom reached for my arm. "Try to understand. We're family. We help each other." I jerked away from her touch. "Family doesn't steal from each other, Mom." The drive to Riverside Coffee was a blur. My mind raced through calculations. How much could I pull together in 2 months? Could I take out a loan? Would Daniel's parents help if they knew? The thought made me sick. I'd worked so hard to maintain my independence, to prove I wasn't marrying Daniel for his money. Sarah was already there when I arrived, looking annoyingly perfect in her yoga outfit, not a blonde hair out of place. At 35, she still had the same golden girl glow that had made her the family favorite growing up. "Amy," she waved cheerfully. "I was just about to call you. We got the house. It's perfect. You have to come see it. The kids each get their own room, and there's this amazing kitchen. Did you know?" I cut her off, sliding into the chair across from her. Her smile faltered slightly. "Know what?" "Don't play dumb, Sarah. Did you know the down payment for your perfect house came from my wedding fund?" The color drained from her face. Mom and Dad said they were helping with the down payment. They said they had savings set aside. They did have savings set aside. My savings. $100,000 that I worked for, that I saved for my wedding. Which, by the way, is in 2 months. Sarah's hand flew to her mouth. "Oh my God, Amy, I had no idea. I swear. They just said they wanted to help us because of Jason's pay cut and the kids' school expenses. And you didn't think to ask where they suddenly got $100,000? Mom's part-time job at the library and Dad's retirement fund somehow magically produced that much cash." Tears welled up in her big blue eyes. Same old Sarah, crying when confronted with consequences. "I'll talk to Jason. Maybe we can get a loan instead, pay you back. The paperwork's already signed, isn't it?" She nodded miserably. "Great, just great." I leaned back in my chair, exhausted. You know what the worst part is? They didn't even tell Daniel. They expect me to explain to my fiancé why our wedding might have to be canceled. Canceled? But can't Daniel's family? Stop! I slammed my hand on the table, making her jump. Why does everyone assume Daniel's family should pay? I had my own money. I saved it myself. I didn't want to start my marriage depending on his family's wealth. "I'm so sorry," Sarah whispered. "I really didn't know. What? What are you going to do? A bitter laugh escaped me. Well, first I'm going to tell my fiancé that my parents stole my wedding fund to buy their favorite daughter a house. Then I guess I'll figure out how to salvage what's left of my wedding plans. Amy, please, you know I was never the favorite. Really? That's what you're focusing on right now. I stood up, unable to take any more of her self-centered response. Enjoy your new house, Sarah. I hope those 4 bedrooms and amazing kitchen are worth it. I drove straight to Daniel's office. He was a real estate developer like his father, but he'd insisted on starting at the bottom and working his way up. It was one of the things I loved about him, his determination to prove himself on his own merits. His secretary waved me through with a smile. Daniel looked up from his computer as I entered, his face breaking into the warm smile that still made my heart skip after 3 years together. This is a nice surprise, he said, standing to kiss me. Then he got a good look at my face. What's wrong? I sank into one of his visitor chairs. We need to talk about the wedding. Okay, he sat on the edge of his desk, concern etching lines around his brown eyes. Did something happen with the venue? No, well, not yet. I took a deep breath. My parents gave my wedding fund to Sarah for a house down payment. Daniel stared at me for a long moment. I'm sorry, what? The $100,000 I saved, that I kept in their account because they insisted it was safer there. They gave it to Sarah and Jason for a house down payment. They just told me today. They did what? His voice rose sharply. Without asking you? Without even telling you? I nodded, tears finally spilling over. They said it didn't matter because your family has money, that you could pay for the wedding. Daniel's face darkened. They stole your money and then assumed my family would cover it. I'm so sorry, I whispered. I never should have trusted them with it. I'll figure something out. Maybe I can get a loan. Amy, stop. He knelt in front of my chair, taking my hands in his. First of all, this is not your fault. Your parents betrayed your trust in an unimaginable way. Second, we'll figure this out together. But right now, I'm more concerned about you than the wedding. His words were exactly what I needed to hear, but they also broke something loose inside me. I collapsed forward into his arms, sobbing out the whole story. Mom's casual dismissal, Dad's expectation that Daniel's family would solve everything, Sarah's tearful claims of ignorance. Daniel held me, stroking my hair, letting me cry it out. When I finally sat back, wiping my eyes, his expression was thoughtful. You know, he said slowly, there might be a silver lining here. What possible silver lining could there be? Remember how we've been talking about wanting a smaller wedding, something more intimate than the society event our families are pushing for? I nodded. Despite the large venue and extensive guest list, what I really wanted was a meaningful ceremony with our closest friends and family. Well, he continued, this might be our chance to do it our way. And he hesitated, then forged ahead. There's something I've been meaning to tell you, something that might change everything. The look in his eyes made my heart race. What is it? I've been working on a side project, a development deal separate from my father's company. It just came through last week. I was waiting for the right moment to tell you. Daniel, what are you saying? He squeezed my hands. I'm saying that the prenup your parents think I don't know about, the one protecting your assets from my family's wealth, it might need some revisions, because as of last week, I'm worth about $20 million. On my own. I stared at him, speechless. Daniel had always been ambitious, always working on multiple projects, but this, $20 million? He nodded, a slight smile playing at his lips. The Richardson Street development. I bought the properties quietly over the last 2 years, worked with independent investors. Dad doesn't even know yet. A laugh bubbled up in my throat. So when my parents said your family could pay for the wedding, they had no idea that I could pay for 10 weddings without touching my family's money. His expression turned serious. But that's not what this is about. Your parents stole from you, Amy. They betrayed your trust and then tried to manipulate you with guilt. We need to decide how to handle that before we talk about wedding plans. He was right, of course. As the shock of his revelation faded, the anger at my parents' actions returned. They hadn't just taken my money. They tried to force me into exactly the position I'd worked so hard to avoid, being dependent on Daniel's family's wealth. You're right, I said, straightening in my chair, and I think I know exactly how to handle it. 2 days later, I sat in my office at Harrison and Pierce Law, staring at the documents spread across my desk. Being a corporate attorney had its advantages, like knowing exactly how to document financial crimes, even when they were committed by your own parents. My phone buzzed with a text from Daniel. "Everything set for dinner tonight?" "Yes," I replied. "Mom's thrilled we're hosting at the new house. She thinks it's me coming around to accepting the situation." The new house. My sister's house, bought with my stolen money. Mom had been calling me constantly since our confrontation, alternating between guilt trips about family loyalty and excited chatter about how perfect the house was for Sarah's family. She seemed to think that if she just kept talking, everything would go back to normal. I'd let her believe it was working. I'd even agreed to a family dinner at Sarah's house, a housewarming celebration that would include Daniel and his parents. What my family didn't know was that Daniel's parents were fully aware of the situation. The look on Catherine Pierce's face when we told her what my parents had done. I almost felt sorry for what was coming. Almost. A knock on my door pulled me from my thoughts. "Come in." My assistant Jennifer entered, holding a manila envelope. "The papers you requested from County Records, Ms. Harrison." Perfect timing. "Thank you, Jen." I opened the envelope and added its contents to the growing pile on my desk. Property records, bank statements, transfer documentation, everything meticulously organized. My parents had been sloppy, confident in their belief that I would simply accept their decision. They hadn't counted on my professional expertise or my determination to hold them accountable. At 6:30, I pulled up to Sarah's new house. My house, really, given that my money had paid for it. Daniel was already there, his sleek BMW parked behind our parents' cars. I smoothed down my charcoal gray suit, checked that my briefcase was secure, and walked up the pristine front path. Sarah opened the door, her smile too bright, too forced. "Amy, you're here." "Wouldn't miss it," I replied, stepping past her into the large foyer. The house was beautiful, I had to admit. High ceilings, hardwood floors, the kind of spacious open-concept layout that young families dreamed about. All purchased with my stolen dreams. In the living room, Mom was arranging flowers while Dad chatted with Daniel and his parents. The scene looked so normal, so familiar, except for the tension thrumming beneath the surface. "Amy, darling." Mom hurried over to hug me. I allowed it, keeping my expression pleasant. "Doesn't the house look wonderful? Sarah's done such a lovely job with the decorating." "It's certainly impressive what she's managed in just a few days," I said, my voice carefully neutral. "Though I suppose having an unexpected $100,000 helps with furnishing." Mom's smile faltered slightly, but she pressed on. "We're just about to sit down to dinner. Sarah's made her famous lasagna." "Actually," I said, setting my briefcase on the coffee table with a soft thud, "I think we should talk first." "Oh, honey, not now," Mom said quickly. "Let's just enjoy a nice family dinner." "I agree." Dad stood up from his armchair. "Whatever issues you're still holding on to can wait." "No," Daniel's voice was firm as he moved to stand beside me. "They really can't." Sarah emerged from the kitchen, wiping her hands on her apron. "What's going on?" I opened my briefcase and began laying out documents on the coffee table. "What's going on is that we're going to discuss exactly what happened with my wedding fund and what happens next." "Amy," Dad's voice took on that warning tone he used when I was a child. "Don't make a scene." "A scene." Catherine Pierce spoke up, her elegant features sharp with disapproval. "Is that what you call addressing theft?" My parents blanched. Clearly, they hadn't expected Daniel's parents to know, let alone take my side. "Theft," Mom sputtered. "This was a family matter. We were helping our daughter." "By stealing from your other daughter?" William Pierce, Daniel's father, asked coldly. Sarah sank onto the couch, her face pale. "Maybe we should just calm down." "I am calm," I said, picking up the first document. "This is a record of the bank transfer from your account to the real estate company. $100,000 taken from funds I had entrusted to you, transferred without my knowledge or consent." "We're your parents," Dad protested. "You trusted us with that money." "Exactly. I trusted you, and you betrayed that trust." I picked up another document. "This is the property deed, showing that my money was used as the down payment for this house. And this," I held up a third paper, "is a police report detailing financial elder abuse. I haven't filed it yet, but I will if necessary." The room went dead silent. "You wouldn't?" Mom whispered. We're your family. Family doesn't steal from family. I threw her words back at her. But you're right. I prefer not to involve the police, so I'm offering you a choice. I pulled out one final document, a property transfer agreement I had drawn up that morning. Option 1. You sign this agreement transferring ownership of this house to me since my money paid for it. Sarah and Jason can continue living here, paying rent at market rate. The rent will go toward paying back my wedding fund. That's ridiculous. Sarah burst out. We can't afford market rent here. The only reason we bought this house was because we didn't have to make a huge monthly payment. Then there's option 2, I continued as if she hadn't spoken. You take out a home equity loan immediately and repay my $100,000 in full. You'll have higher monthly payments, but you'll keep the house. Or what? Dad demanded. You'll send your own parents to jail. No, Daniel spoke up. She'll sue you in civil court, where all of this will become public record. How do you think that will play out? Respected retired couple steals daughter's wedding fund to play favorites with other daughter. Mom started to cry, but I developed immunity to her tears over the years. You have until the end of dinner to decide. Oh, and Sarah. I turned to my sister, who was staring at me in shock. The lasagna's burning. She jumped up and ran to the kitchen, leaving behind the heavy silence of her parents' shattered illusions. William Pierce cleared his throat. Perhaps Daniel and I should step into the other room while you discuss this as a family. No need, I said firmly. You're about to become family too, and you should know exactly what kind of people you're dealing with. Amy, please, Mom tried again. We thought we were doing what was best for everyone. Sarah needed. Stop, my voice cracked like a whip. Sarah didn't need anything. She wanted a bigger house that she couldn't afford. You chose to prioritize her wants over my needs, over my trust, over basic human decency. We were going to pay you back, Dad said weakly. When? How? With what money? I gestured around the expensively furnished room. Looks like any spare cash has gone into decorating. Sarah returned from the kitchen, her face streaked with tears. The lasagna's ruined. Like my wedding plans, I couldn't help but snap. Actually, Daniel stepped forward about those wedding plans. Amy and I have made some decisions. My parents perked up hopefully, probably expecting him to announce his family would cover everything. We're canceling the big wedding, he continued. We're having a small ceremony instead, immediate family only. Well, he glanced at my parents, depending on how tonight goes, very immediate family. But all the deposits, Mom began, have been refunded thanks to my father's influence. Daniel cut her off. The real question is whether you'll be there to see your daughter get married, or whether you'll be dealing with legal proceedings instead. I pulled out my phone and set a timer. You have exactly 1 hour to decide. Option 1. Transfer the house to me and become renters. Option 2. Take out a loan and repay my money in full. Choose carefully because this is about more than just money. This is about whether you want to have a relationship with me going forward. The timer began to count down, its soft ticking filling the silent room. My parents looked at each other, then at Sarah, then back at me. For the first time, I saw real fear in their eyes, not just of legal consequences, but of losing their daughter completely. The choice was theirs now, and as I sat there, backed by Daniel and his parents' solid support, I realized I was at peace with either outcome. I'd already won the most important battle. I found my voice, my strength, and a partner who supported me unconditionally. The timer on my phone showed 15 minutes remaining when Sarah finally broke the tense silence. We'll take out the loan, she said quietly, not meeting my eyes. Jason and I will find a way to make the payments. Mom's head snapped up. Sarah, no, we can figure something else out. There is nothing else to figure out. Sarah's voice was tired but firm. Amy's right. We took her money. I took her money, even if I didn't know it at the time. We have to make it right. I studied my sister carefully. For the first time in our adult lives, I saw something new in her expression. Accountability. Jason and I can sell some things, she continued. My car is only 2 years old. We can downgrade. The kids don't need their own rooms. They can share. That won't be necessary, Daniel spoke up. Everyone turned to look at him. I have a proposition. He pulled out his own folder, one I hadn't known about, and placed it on the coffee table. What's this? Dad asked, reaching for it. A business opportunity, Daniel replied. Jason's a contractor, right? good at what he does, just struggling with the economic downturn. Sarah nodded slowly. Yes, but my development project needs a reliable contracting firm for ongoing maintenance and renovations. It's a 5-year contract, guaranteed work. He opened the folder, revealing a thick contract. The income would more than cover the increased mortgage payments from the home equity loan. The room went still again, but this time with shock rather than tension. I stared at Daniel, my heart swelling. He hadn't just been supporting my confrontation, he'd been planning a way to help my family recover from it. Why would you do this? Sarah whispered. After what we did. Because despite everything, you're Amy's family, Daniel said simply, and you just showed that you're willing to take responsibility and make things right. That matters. Mom started crying again, but these tears seemed different, real rather than manipulative. We don't deserve this kindness. No, I agreed, you don't. But that's not why Daniel's offering it. I took his hand, squeezing it gently. He's offering it because he understands what family should really mean, supporting each other while maintaining boundaries and respect. Dad picked up the contract, his hands shaking slightly as he read through it. This is incredibly generous. It's business, Daniel corrected. Jason's reputation in the industry is excellent. His company's financial struggles are purely due to market conditions, not his capabilities. This makes good business sense. Sarah pulled out her phone. I'm calling Jason. He needs to be here for this. While she stepped out to make the call, I turned to my parents. This doesn't change what you did or the fact that you'll need to take out that loan and repay my money. We understand, Mom said softly. And, I'm sorry, Amy. We were so wrong. Not just about taking your money, but about everything, about assuming Daniel's family should pay, about dismissing your feelings, about, she struggled visibly, about always favoring Sarah. The admission stunned me. In all our years of family dynamics, my mother had never acknowledged the preferential treatment. It wasn't fair, Dad added, his voice rough. We told ourselves we were just helping where it was needed most. But the truth is, we put too much on you because we knew you could handle it. You were always so capable, so independent. We took advantage of that. I felt tears pricking at my eyes but held them back. Thank you for saying that. It doesn't fix everything, but it's a start. Jason arrived 20 minutes later, looking confused and wary. Sarah met him at the door and quickly explained the situation. I watched his face cycle through emotions, shock, shame, hope, and finally, determination. I'll need to review the contract carefully, he said to Daniel after being brought up to speed. But if it is what you've described, he turned to me. Amy, I swear we'll make this right. Review it with your lawyer, Daniel advised. Take a few days, but the offer is solid. And in the meantime, I added, pulling out my copy of the home equity loan paperwork, we need to get this process started. To my parents' credit, they signed everything without further protest. By the end of the evening, the loan application was complete, and Daniel's business proposal was in Jason's hands. It wasn't a perfect resolution. Trust, once broken, takes more than paperwork to repair, but it was a beginning. As we prepared to leave, Sarah caught my arm. Amy, wait, can we talk for a minute? Alone? I hesitated, then nodded. We stepped out onto the back porch, leaving the others inside. I've been horrible to you, Sarah said without preamble. Not just about this, but for years. I took advantage of being the favorite, let Mom and Dad give me things that should have been yours, acted entitled to help I didn't deserve. Yes, I said simply. You did. I'd like to blame it on stress, on how you have a kid so young, on struggling with money. But those are excuses. The truth is, I was selfish, and seeing you stand up to all of us tonight, it made me realize how weak I've been, always taking the easy way out. She ran a hand through her hair, a nervous gesture I remembered from childhood. I know it's not enough, but I'm sorry. Really deeply sorry, and I want to do better, not just about paying back the money, but about being your sister. I looked at her for a long moment. The easy thing would be to accept her apology, to fall back into old patterns. But I wasn't taking the easy way anymore. I appreciate you saying that, I said carefully. But you're right, it's not enough. I need to see real change, Sarah. In how you act, in how you treat me, in how you handle money and responsibility. That's going to take time. She nodded, wiping at her eyes. I understand. Can I start by asking about your new wedding plans? Not to give input or take over, just to know what you want. It was a small thing, but significant. Sarah asking about my wishes instead of imposing her own. Daniel and I are thinking of having the ceremony at his family's beach house in Cape Cod. Just parents, siblings, and a few close friends. No big production, no society pages, just us. That sounds perfect, she said softly. I hope I'll still be invited. Let's see how the next 2 months go, I replied, starting with getting that loan processed and my money returned. She nodded again, accepting the conditional response. As we walked back inside, I felt lighter somehow, not because everything was fixed, but because for the first time in my adult life, I was setting the terms of my family relationships instead of letting them be dictated to me. Daniel was waiting by the door, talking with Jason about construction logistics. He looked up as I approached, his eyes asking if I was okay. I smiled, letting him know I was. Ready to go, he asked. More than ready, I replied. We have a wedding to plan, our way this time. As we drove away from Sarah's house, my house technically, until the loan came through, I looked back one last time. The place that had been bought with my stolen dreams was now becoming something else. A monument to accountability, to consequences, and maybe just maybe to real family healing. But first we had a beach wedding to plan. 2 months later, I stood barefoot in the sand, the late afternoon sun casting a golden glow over Cape Cod's pristine shoreline. My wedding dress was simple, an elegant ivory sheath that moved with the ocean breeze. No giant ball gown, no cathedral train, just exactly what I wanted. Daniel waited at the end of a short aisle marked by seashells and lanterns, looking handsome and relaxed in his light gray suit. Behind him, waves crashed rhythmically against the shore, nature's own wedding music. Our guest list was exactly 20 people, close friends, Daniel's family, and yes, my family. They'd earned their place here over the past 2 months, not through grand gestures, but through consistent, humble actions. The loan had been processed within a week of our confrontation. My wedding fund was restored, though I'd chosen not to use most of it. Instead, Daniel and I had planned this intimate celebration, which cost a fraction of our original budget. The remainder I put into a separate account, a lesson learned about keeping my money under my own control. Sarah and Jason had been diligently making their loan payments, living more modestly but seeming happier for it. The contract with Daniel's company had proved to be exactly what Jason's business needed, and he was thriving in the new role. More importantly, Sarah had kept her word about working on our relationship. No more entitled demands, no more competitive behavior. Just small, genuine efforts to rebuild trust. My parents had gone through their own transformation. The night before the wedding, Mom had taken me aside, tears in her eyes. I know we did deserve to be here, she'd said. Thank you for giving us the chance to see our daughter marry the man she loves. Dad had simply hugged me, whispering, I'm so proud of the woman you've become, even when that woman proved stronger than her old dad. Now, as I began my walk down the sandy aisle, I saw tears in both their eyes. Real ones, not the manipulative kind I'd grown so used to. Daniel's parents sat on the other side, elegant as always but relaxed in the casual beach setting. They'd become unexpected allies in all this, showing me what supportive family could look like. Daniel's smile grew as I approached, and I felt my heart swell. He'd been my rock through everything, not just supporting my stand against my family's betrayal, but finding a way to help heal the breach while maintaining boundaries. Our vows were personal, honest, and brief. No flowery promises about perfect love, but real commitments based on what we've learned through this journey. I vow to stand by you, I said, my voice carrying over the sound of the waves. To support your dreams while respecting your independence, to love you not in spite of your strength, but because of it. I vow to be your partner, Daniel responded, to face challenges together, to respect your boundaries, and to help build the kind of family we choose to be. As the sun began to set, casting brilliant colors across the sky, we shared our first dance on the beach. Our small group of guests joined us, everyone barefoot in the sand, everyone relaxed and genuine. I caught sight of Sarah watching us, her expression thoughtful. She asked to make a toast earlier, and I'd agreed, curious about what she'd say. To my sister, she'd raised her glass, who taught me that real love includes accountability, and that family isn't about taking what you want, but supporting each other and becoming who you're meant to be. Looking around at our intimate gathering now, at the honest smiles, the genuine joy, the hard-earned peace, I knew we created something far more valuable than the big society wedding we'd originally planned. We created a new template for our family, one built on respect, boundaries, and real love. As the stars began to appear above us, Daniel pulled me close. "Happy," he whispered. "More than," I replied. "This is exactly what I wanted." Even with everything that happened, I considered this, watching my parents dance nearby, seeing Sarah laugh with Daniel's mother, noting how the past 2 months had changed us all. Maybe because of everything that happened, I said finally, we needed that shake-up to build something better. He kissed me softly, and above us, a shooting star streaked across the darkening sky. Perfect timing for a wish, but looking around at what we'd built, this intimate celebration, this stronger version of family, this honest love, I realized I didn't need to wish for anything. Sometimes losing your original dream leads you to the one you should have had all along. And sometimes standing up for yourself helps others stand up straighter too. As the evening wound down, I looked back at the ocean one last time. The waves kept their steady rhythm, reminding me that, like them, life would keep moving forward. But now I knew that whatever came next, I'd face it on my own terms, with a partner who understood my worth and a family that had learned to respect it. It wasn't the wedding I'd saved for, but it was the beginning I'd always needed.